Hello, beautiful people.
Hi.
And the Goldens.
Yeah, they're downstairs, probably wreaking
Look,
havoc on my
look.
home.
If you want to be part of this podcast, you're going to hear a kid. You're going to hear a dog. You're going to hear a male figure yelling at one or the other.
Yeah. Or
Yep.
occasionally you hear power tools or lawnmowers because our husbands do the manly things in our
They do
lives.
stuff, okay? They do stuff. Yeah, well, as you can tell, I'm no longer in Oklahoma.
Can they actually tell, though? The only thing that would have made it better is if you hung a sign above your head that said, "We are now in Ohio or Pennsylvania or wherever it is,
Okay,
technically."
because I know I'm gonna mess up and somebody's gonna be like, she didn't say, which I mean, nobody's gonna say that because I regularly talk to all of our listeners, so they actually know. Uh, so Brandon is working in Ohio, but it's right on the Ohio-Pennsylvania border, and everywhere in that area in Ohio isn't open until May. All of their campgrounds aren't open for the season yet. But there was one about 20, 30 minutes away in Pennsylvania that was open. So we're staying in Pennsylvania. Working in Ohio, staying in Pennsylvania.
Gotcha. That makes
Yep.
sense.
Yes.
So how was the move? What are you
Uh,
guys? Are you settling in? Are things going okay?
so we're pretty settled in. I feel like, because we're only going to be here for about a month, and I feel like as soon as I get things really clean and neat and all that, it's going to be time to move. But we're moving to Kentucky, which is close to
Woo woo.
Tennessee.
Yeah. Coming to hang out for the summer. What?
Yeah, but it was opposed from eclipse traffic, which was nuts. I don't remember people caring about eclipses this much before,
Yeah.
but opposed to that, everything was good.
Good. Glad you guys made it in one piece with all your belongings
Mm-hmm.
and all your people.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too.
If you are a regular listener, that is why there was no episode last week because
Mm-hmm.
Ashlee and her family had relocated. I have been working overtime at work, and my eldest little doggy was not feeling well, so she had to go to the vet, and we had to deal with that. So, life is the
Yeah,
short answer, but
but this isn't our job, and even if it ever became our job, our household is always going to come first.
yes.
And if there's ever anything we need to take care of in any kind of way, that's going to be taken care of before this.
Right.
Okay, so today's episode is things we don't understand on a unserious note.
Very
And yes,
lighthearted.
whenever I brought this to Kayla, I had just watched a video of somebody jump roping like really, really, really fast. And like it was like their torso wasn't moving, but their hands were moving so fast you couldn't see them, and so were their little feet. And I don't understand how that's possible. I don't.
Like you don't understand what was happening.
No.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
Um, you can go first because my iPad is updating from my notes that I took on my phone to tell me what my notes were about. And I hope that it hurries up because it's getting on my nerves.
Okay. So, this is one that I feel like I think about it lightheartedly, but I feel like it could probably get deep in some kind of way, but I'm like, we're not, obviously. But why do criminals always seem to keep diaries? Like,
Like about the stuff they've done?
Yes. Like they'll always be like, after they get caught, and I thought of this on the way up here because I was listening to a lot of true crime podcasts. And I was like, why do all these people keep a journal or a diary documenting what they did? It's literally evidence. And you don't hear of anybody else really like keeping a diary these days. And it's just like, is it something to do with their mental, like they're off? Because, obviously they're murderers or criminals in some kind of way. But they just write down everything they did. And it's like, homie, you're just writing it all down. You don't got to do that.
So I would say that, in my expertise of seeing all 13 seasons of Criminal Minds, they always talk about how they write it down so that they can relive it.
That's
like rereading it.
Yeah.
Kind of like, this is a very awkward comparison, but kind of like if our husbands, or like, not our husbands, but like in, I don't know, the 1950s, like when everyone was gone at like war and stuff and they were writing like love letters, like how rereading stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's how I think it is, but I also feel like it's not criminals. It's like not in the broad sense. I think it's literally like people who assault people in certain ways, and then like murderers is the only ones that you hear of doing that.
Yeah. I don't remember
and
who I was listening to. Like what story of who it was about I was listening to that really made me like sit on it for a little while. But I was like, guys, stop writing down all of your secrets. You're giving yourself away.
You're like, I'm not an expert, but if you didn't do this.
If I was going to do this, I could tell you what I wouldn't do. I wouldn't document the whole thing.
Okay, but you also have to remember that most of them are like narcissistic in thinking that they're like above everything and that they're not going to get caught, especially like mass murderers, like, or like Ted Bundy. Like, he was a charismatic person. He had a whole normal life.
Yes.
And was doing stuff like.
Did I send you that thing where the girl said that her dad worked with, or I don't know if it was a girl, worked with Ted Bundy, and every Friday he would say, "See you Monday, Bundy."
Yes.
Oh my God. That is so scary. Yeah.
He didn't like killing men. He killed women. He was fine.
It's fair, but just like the thought of treating a murderer so, I don't know,
Cavalier.
Normally. Yeah.
Yeah. Like okay. Just being so casual about things.
Yes. Is yours still updating, or do I need to go again?
No, it's ready to go.
Okay. Good. Perfect.
Okay. How smell works. Like, how we can smell things in this vicinity, but my dog can smell something 5 miles away. Like, and then like sharks can smell underwater. Like my brain was like not. Once this occurred to me, it was not connecting at all. I was like, really though, how does that happen? Like,
well, that's like, no, I'm with you, because the other day I was feeding my fish and one of the little fish food pieces like floated off and it just swam over there and got it, and it wasn't looking that direction, and so I'm like, how do you know where your freaking food is? How do you know that? But also like the thing where your house, like you can't smell your own house because your senses will dull to your house. So if like there's a fire, you smell the smoke above your house.
Yes.
Like the smells of your house, so it'll like alert you. Like that is really fascinating to me. And also how you can smell something and you're like, that smells like my kindergarten classroom from 25 years ago. Like, it's just like, I don't know if you do that, but I
Yes.
associate
Yes.
certain smells and I'm like, whoa, that smells like whatever from forever ago. And it's like a memory hits me out of nowhere that I haven't thought of in so long. Like how smells can associate to memories and like that. And it's normally very distinctive, like something very specific.
Yes.
And that's really cool to me.
Yes. Yeah. But I don't like the other day my brain went down a rabbit hole for this episode and I was like, really though? And then I had the same thought what you were talking about, like how you smell something completely random and you're like, that's familiar, and then either then or later on you're like, oh my gosh, that was from a car trip, a road trip that we took when I was 7.5 years old.
Yes. Yes.
Just weird things that stick in your brain.
So I noticed that I say a lot when we're recording, I'm going to pivot from that. And I never say that. I don't use the word pivot in everyday life. I don't know why I say it on here. But to pivot off of your conversation, how
We can blame the
people,
mug today.
yes. How can some people taste the differences in certain kinds of water and some people can't?
I don't know
Like,
which are you.
I can taste it. Like there's some like the water
can
that
too.
your mom like the water that your mom used to buy and like by the caseloads that she used to send us to buy, literally by the caseloads with coupons. Not to call her out, but she's a coupon queen. Props to her.
I mean, hey.
I can't drink that. Like that water is gross. And I can't explain why. Can't explain what it tastes like. But there's just something about it
has
that
a
I
weird
do not
taste.
like. Yes. Yes. There's
Yeah,
some that
it has
I
a weird
just,
taste.
yeah, that I just can't handle. And yeah. I don't, and some people are like, it all tastes the same. And I'm like, are your senses dulled? Because it definitely doesn't taste the same. But how come it tastes? Because it's water.
Yeah. I feel that way about tap water, though. Because I can always tell when it's tap water. It has like a... I don't know if metallic is the right word, but that's the only thing coming to
don't
mind.
know.
Like, it just has a weird twinge to it. And I'm like, this is tap water. And Johnny's always
Yeah.
like, how do you know? And I'm like, you did not get this out of our fridge with the filter. You got this out of the sink. Like, I can taste it. And he's
Yeah.
like, what?
It's
I feel
weird.
like that goes for like everything though, like foods, like how some people like stuff and some people don't. And then the fact that your taste buds
yeah.
change every 7 years. And so like we were talking about this with your oldest kid the other day. About how like he just woke up on a Tuesday and was like, you know what, I actually don't like pepperoni pizza rolls.
Don't get me started, man. This is supposed to be my safe place to escape that stuff.
I was laughing and then I started laughing harder, although there was no noise coming out because I realized, like, I just saw your face change and I'm like, oh, I struck a nerve. But then I was laughing because there was no sound coming out.
No, you didn't like really strike like an actual nerve, but I'm just like, come on, man. Like you've been eating the same thing for like 6 years for lunch every single day and now you don't like it. Okay. You're probably tired of it, maybe, possibly.
But to just be like, I actually don't like those is just wild.
Like, man, you've been sitting on that secret for a while.
Oh gosh. Okay. Sticking with I guess this theme here of weird things, like that are associated with us, like being able to smell, taste. How things are perceived, like colors. Like the fact that this thing behind me is green. Who the heck said it was green? Why is it called green? Why is it not called red? And like, it's just an understanding that that is what the color is.
Like, I don't know if you know this, but I found out that men can't see in as many shades as women. And that's why sometimes whenever you come, like, let's say you got your fingers painted in a nude color, and then you came back and you got them done in like a darker nude color, and they'd be like, that's the exact same shade you had before. They really don't see like the color spectrum the way we see the color spectrum. I read that somewhere. Maybe it's not true, but it makes sense. Like, I could see that being
It
true.
does. That's interesting. Hmm. But it's just like I feel like that's one of those things how we've talked about like history, how we're taught stuff and they're like da 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 da, and that's how it was. And we just take it and assume that it was right. And I just feel like that's how like colors are or numbers or any of that because it's just like this is what it is. Like
Somebody
someone just
invented
made
it
it
and
up one
nobody
day
changed it.
and
Yeah.
we all yeah, and we all just went with it and we were like, "Okay, cool."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "That's wild."
Back at Easter, Brandon got stuck on. He was like, this can't be actually the day that Jesus came out of the tomb. Like, for real, the day. It can't be. There's no way. Because, and he was like, because if it goes by the moons, because, yeah, like, you have Mardi Gras and Easter, which are a certain amount of time, and then they're both go with the moon and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, if you're going by the moon, it can't be the same day every time. And I was like, okay, dude, calm down. You're right. But let's chill. Let's bring it back. And then he was like, and then what does a bunny got to do with it anyway? And I was like, nothing. Nothing at all. But I don't know if this is like
That was greeting cards. Like greeting card
Hallmark.
companies
Thanks,
associated
Hallmark.
stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
There's another calendar that could be used to where like we don't have to have the makeup day every 4 years. And my brain is just like, well, what if we just swap to that? Like, how much chaos would that create if we changed the way we do our days and weeks and months and years? Like, that would be so wild. So it's like, why did these people just get to say how it is and how it goes? But if we ever changed it to anything else, it would be mass chaos.
Okay, I'm about to expose myself, but is leap day a makeup day? What are we making up? Why do we need
So,
the extra day?
so I don't know if a makeup day is the right way to say it, but it's like the way the world turns. It's I don't know. I don't know if I'm explaining this right, but it's
Okay. Oh,
yes, it's like the way the world turns that there's like a little bit more time that's
yes.
comes every now and then, and
Okay.
we need the leap day to get us back on track or something.
So when you called it a makeup day, immediately my brain was like, that's made up. Like, I was like, government matrix. Like, I was like, nope, that's not
Like
real. That's
that
not
probably
real.
wasn't the right way to say it, but
Ugh, that's funny.
I guess me and Brandon or one of us probably had some discussion, and for some reason it was called that. But I also don't think I've ever had to explain
Like,
what a
just a
leap
little
day is,
added.
even though I know what it is, until like my brain froze and I was like, I don't know how to explain this to somebody. Everybody's just supposed to know.
No, once you said that about the planet, I'm like, oh, yeah, yeah, okay. So, like, it all came back, but I was just like, a makeup day? I was like, okay, we are in a simulation.
Um, okay. So, why people willingly live in dangerous areas and not like crime. I mean, like, why are people living at bases of volcanoes?
Probably for the same reason people live in crime-ridden neighborhoods. It's all they can afford.
But
So I
like,
feel like a
not
house at the base
necessarily.
of a volcano has to be cheaper.
Well, I mean, maybe not necessarily because like Seattle has Mount St. Helen, and you know that property over there is crazy. Like, cost of living there is nuts. And so if like Mount St. Helen erupted, it would like wipe out that whole area. And I every time I watch a movie with a volcano, I'm like, why are they there in the first place? You know, it's a chance whenever. Like you can't. It's a natural disaster. You can't control it. Why are you there?
I don't know. And I was actually going to say it probably wouldn't be cheaper to live at the base of a volcano because your home insurance would be wild. That would be like living near a body of water. So, but anyway, maybe some people's faith is just that strong that this is where I'm supposed to be. Or maybe they like playing Risk every day of their life. I don't know.
I mean, right? Wake up and choose. I don't know. Like,
Well, because when you're like, it's a natural disaster, I mean, it is 100%. But like, people live in Florida. They live on the beaches. Their homes
yeah,
get wiped
and I
out
mean,
by
people live in
hurricanes.
New Orleans.
And then they
I
come back
mean,
and do it all over again.
because people don't understand that New Orleans is literally a bowl until you've been to New
Yeah.
Orleans and you're standing there and you look and there's a ship right here, like
Yeah.
in your eyesight, and you're like, that shouldn't happen, but you're literally lower than that. Like, New Orleans is literally a bowl that when Katrina and Rita
Yeah.
happened, they weren't making that up. It's actually a thing. But why do
Yeah.
people live there other than it's like a beautiful city and they have great food, which sign me up, I guess. Like,
Maybe it's just like weighing pros and cons for some people.
maybe. Like, the chances of this happening and the chances of me being able to eat great food
Yeah.
all the time, kind of worth the risk, I guess.
So mine actually kind of, this one actually kind of backtracks. It's funny that you talked about it. But time. How if nothing changed, if nothing moved, if nothing grew or decayed, time would still exist as a thing. Like,
Yeah.
we relate things to time and the way that things have changed, but if nothing had changed, time would still be passing and going on. And I can remember being in gymnastics when I was like 12 or 13 maybe, and a girl was in my class that day, and she had been adopted, and I can remember asking her how old she was, and she was like, they think I'm 12. And I was like, what? And she was like, well, I'm adopted and they didn't actually know my birthday, so I just got to pick what age I was. And it was like a whole thing. And this is when I did gymnastics in Natchitoches. And so, like, the instructors were NSU cheerleaders. And the guy was like, yeah, like, people perceive time differently. And, like, you know, there's different calendars you can go by and things like that. And so he's like, who's to say that you are actually your age anyway? Like, talking to me. He's like, we just base it off of your birthday and that's what we know. But, like, how do you know that a minute is a minute, an hour is an hour, a year is a year? And I'm like,
Was he what is it, a philosophy major? Sounds like a
I have
philosophy
no idea,
major.
but in that moment, I was
yeah.
like, he's like, right. Again, just something someone was like, this is how it is. And we just went with it.
Okay,
And I'm
so
like, okay.
first thought, if you are pro-life, why don't you come out of the womb at 9 months old already? Because you've been alive for 9 months. Like, maybe not walking, talking down the street, but you have been a person for 9 months already. Two, I don't understand how, like, I can text you and be like, this has been the slowest day ever. And you're like, man, it's been going kind of fast for me. I don't understand that. That kind of freaks me out. Because I'm like, how does it feel like it's been 4 days to me? And you're like, I feel like it's been 2 hours. I don't understand that kind of perception. That kind of freaks me out. I'm not lying. I don't understand that.
I feel like that's like in our situation, comparing each other, like sometimes I'm at work and sometimes you're at home, or maybe you ran errands or whatever you were doing.
Being tortured.
But did you buy another Stanley Cup?
It's the one Brandon got me. Isn't he cute?
When did he buy you that?
Mm,
Also, how did we justify another Stanley Cup?
because that's one of the tinier ones. Like the
Oh, so it's
yeah
30 ounces?
yeah.
Okay. I was like,
The
wait a minute.
day that the kids went and had the sleepover at my uncle's, and we had
Mm-hmm.
a date day, he got
Oh,
it for
okay.
me. Yeah, he wanted to get me the
I
one
gotcha.
that was like that's low key what started me getting that one was he wanted to get me the new one that's like safety yellow, and I was like, no, that thing's gonna glow in the dark. I'm not buying that. But then I was
It's
like, well,
gonna
this one's
glow
kind
in
of
the dark.
funky and it's low key ugly, but it somehow also works. So I was like, if you really wanted to get me a cup and
It's
you want
cute.
it
I
to
like it.
be found in the woods from 50 yards away, I will get that one. Because this thing has like 7 colors going on. Yeah.
Sorry, that was
No, you're fine.
way off, obviously. But,
No,
um,
we have to keep each other. We have to hold each other accountable with our spending. We've established that we have a problem.
yes. Yes.
Mm, okay.
Um,
Um.
oh, what I was saying though is I think it's how you were talking about it freaks you out. At least we're in like different environments, different settings, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It freaks me out whenever like I'm at work with literally the same people. Like we're in the
Yeah.
same environment, the same setting, and someone will be like, "Oh, this day is dragging," and I'm like, "I thought it was going by kind of quick." Like, and then I'm like, "What is happening?" Kind of like how we talked about the simulation thing and literally the Sims game, and I'm
Yeah, they're
like,
speeding you up.
is someone, yeah, I'm like, is someone just like fast forwarding what's happening?
Ooh, can someone rosebud me $1 million because we be struggling this day and age. Also, I type like this apparently. I knew I shouldn't have said that. It's like it was coming out of my mouth when you were drinking, and I was like, she's gonna choke on her tea.
Uh, Coffee just tried to come out of my nose.
The noise you just made.
I'm sure was god awful. I
It
can
was like,
feel coffee in my
no, because
nasal passages.
your mic is so strong, I can hear you like take a like gulp, and it was like.
Oh my gosh. Ooh. Well, I'm
So,
awake.
so you guys, this is why me and Kayla wanted to start a podcast because she and I could be FaceTiming, having this exact same conversation on a random Tuesday, and we find each other hilarious. So we were like,
Oh
the rest of the
man.
world's got to find us hilarious too, but that's not how that actually works.
Uh, oh
Okay.
my gosh.
Um.
Whew.
So this is gonna make me look really stupid. This is gonna make me look really stupid. I don't understand or have trouble understanding how baking is literally science. Like you're literally making a chemical reaction occur. Like if I put
No.
X amount of eggs in a brownie mix, it'll make brownies. If I put X amount of eggs in a brownie mix, it'll make it a cake. Like, actually, that was actually one of my science fair experiments one year. Um, I think I did that like a couple years because I was one of those people who always waited to the last minute because I freaking hated it. But, back on track. Yeah, I have trouble, like, I don't know, that just doesn't compute in my brain very well. Like how you're creating things and making things. And it's
And
like you
like,
think you're just you think you're just baking, but it's actually like you're causing things to react to each other and make something else.
yeah. And like you said, you put so many eggs and it makes this or that, but also the same is true with like if you cook it for this amount of time and it's in one big section, it's a cake. If you make it into
Mm-hmm.
smaller ones and cook it for a different amount of time, it will make individual cakes, so we have cupcakes. Like, it's the
Mm-hmm.
same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yes.
I don't guess I've
Or
ever thought about that.
I don't know if you've ever seen a picture of like cookies and it's like this is what the cookie would look like with too much flour. This is the cookie with too much sugar. This is the cookie with too much butter. This is a cookie with and it's like different like bigger cookies, fluffier cookies, like denser cookies. Yeah, it's I'll have to send that to you if you've never seen it, but it's kind of fascinating because
No,
I'm
that's
really
interesting.
picky about my cookies, man. And so it's really cool to be like, well, if I want them to be fluffier, I can just add more butter. I don't know. I'm a lot of things, but I'm not a pastry chef.
Wow.
Also, while we're on the topic of cooking, I have a bone to pick with those people. Do you ever watch those reels? And it's like, whenever I don't feel like cooking dinner, I do this. And they start like chopping up onions and sauteing them. And then they're like, I gotta make some hamburger buns real quick. And I'm like, no. When I don't feel like cooking, it's either McDonald's or ramen noodles. I don't start sauteing things whenever I actually cook a freaking meal.
Yeah.
Do you ever see that?
Unless, yes. Or the people that are like, this is my easy meal when
Mm-mm.
I don't have a lot of time. And then they're like doing
Mm-mm.
50 things. And I'm like,
No.
again, are we perceiving time differently? Because that would take me an hour. And you just said you don't have any time to cook.
Yes.
So I know you didn't whip that out in 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm. That makes me
Yeah.
so angry. I will scroll through that so fast. I'll be like, absolutely not. I'm not giving you the satisfactory of having a full view on this reel. I'm scrolling. I'm not watching that. Also, people who are like, be sure you stay to the end. Nope, not watching you. You ain't peer pressuring me to watch your stuff.
Glad to know you're not peer pressure by people on Instagram. Oh, goodness. Okay, so sidebar, but when we were talking about this episode and I was like trying to make notes and plan for it, I was like I told you, I was trying to think of things that like you said, keeping it lighthearted, but like things I actually kind of don't understand or things that don't make
Mm-hmm.
sense without making myself look like a complete and total idiot. Though I'm about to anyway, so it's fine.
No, I told you last night whenever we were on the phone. I realized whenever I was making notes for this that I don't understand a lot of things.
Yeah. So when I was thinking about smell and I added that to my list and was like going through that process in my brain, I remembered when I was in high school, someone told me once, I don't even know like how this came up on topic either, but someone was once like, what if oxygen is
Oh
what's killing
god.
us? It's just taking a really long time. And so then my brain like kind of went down that track. And then I was like, really though, like, because we watched a,
We've talked about that before. Like we've had this conversation before.
yes. But then my brain went on a different track and I was like, because this is how it works. I was like, first off, so if we lost like all the plants, would we just die?
Yes.
Because we no longer have oxygen. But then I was thinking about, we were watching a movie, but I was thinking about a movie Johnny and I watched about like this apocalyptic world where everyone was dying and to stay alive people were becoming cannibals and stuff. Like it's a weird movie. Anyway, it's actually good, but very dark movie. And then I remember the show that my dad used to watch, and I don't remember what it was called, but it was on the History Channel, and it's like life after people, and it would show you different cities, and it's just empty cities, and they've done like computer generations of like how things would continue to grow, how buildings would like fall, like stuff decay, things like that. And then my brain was like, those buildings were always covered in plants. And I was like, how do plants survive like that outside when there's freezing and droughts and rains and all the things, but I can't keep something alive inside my house. And then I'm like, well, Kayla, it never rains in your house. And at some point, the plants outside do get rain. So now you're an idiot, but let's move past that. And then I also had the thought that seriously, how do people die? Like, do we just, does something just switch in your brain one day and it's like, we can no longer handle this? And so, like, if you're just a healthy person, not like we have cancer, we have a blood disease, things like that, like you're a normal person and then your body just slowly starts decaying. And when does that process actually switch? Because when we're born, obviously we're growing up and thriving and you're healthy and you're doing well. And then all of a sudden you slowly start decaying and you have all these problems. And at what point does your body just full on give up and it's just straight up killing itself? And why is it doing that? Is it something we consumed? Is it the oxygen? I told you, I went down a very deep rabbit hole the other night in my brain.
So I'm going to give you an answer that's going to explain everything. And that is our Lord and Savior, God. Sky Daddy, if you will. He takes you and he wants to take you. But
this is true.
Don't ask me this question, because I think that we die because we're putting poison in our body every single day.
That thought occurred to me too.
Like, our food is so full of chemicals. Don't get me wrong. I am not one of those people who's like, our food is so full of chemicals. Oh my God, I'm going to start a garden. I wish I could. It's just really expensive. Props to you if you can, but I don't like people who are pushy like that. But that's a different conversation. I think our food is way too full of chemicals that we're not supposed to have. I watched a thing the other day about how like 75 to 80% of laundry detergents are full of carcinogens. And so we are wearing it. Like, so not only are we putting it in our body, we're putting it on our body. And then we go outside and we breathe, toxins from vehicles, whatever, stuff that's being put off that we shouldn't be inhaling. Mold. We're just, inhaling stuff we shouldn't be inhaling. And one day it just gets to be too much. And our body's just like, nope, I don't want to do this anymore. Good night.
Yeah.
But I'm not a scientist. Yeah. I am not a doctor. I am none of those things. So I'm sure there's a reason that we could find. And I think it's weird. Like, you and I could be together every single day, 24/7, following the same paths of life. And, like, something happened to you and not happened to me. Or, like, how I can get sick and the kids can get sick, but Brandon doesn't get sick. Like, stuff like that. Like, how our immune systems are all different. They've been built different, whatever.
Yeah. That was something that always interested me whenever I was in lab tech school, was when you learn about blood bank and blood types and antibodies and antigens, and how different races and then male and female are more susceptible to certain antibodies, just like naturally. And then like certain blood diseases only affect certain types of people. And it's just like mind blowing to me. And like, it's been studied enough that they're like, no, this literally only affects, white men. And I'm like, how does that work? Like, and why? Like, where did that come from?
Right. And I feel like a lot of times it seems like it's African American people.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is so wild to me, because it's like, why? Like, what's different in their genetic makeup? Because it shouldn't be anything.
Yeah. That like causes this to happen to them more frequently than to us. Yeah. Yeah. There's also some I forget what it was, but it's like a special type of blood, and It's like when you're, I'm pretty sure it's when you're O, and then something is like attached to it though, and it's like from this plant lectin, and it only happens to like 0.001% of people or something. But I was like, that is just crazy that like, and I don't think that was specific to like gender or race or anything. It was just this happens sometimes. And I was like, how though? How does it happen? Where did it come from? Like, and it's just different, like things like that that always have, I don't know, it just, I need answers.
I just had like a thought while you were saying that. So, our second kid, he has red hair, which is an anomaly, has blue eyes, which is an anomaly. Red hair and blue eyes together is the rarest mix. And he has B negative blood, which is rare and an anomaly. Because negative blood,
Yeah,
why did
in
it just start
general.
being negative one day? That is so. My kid is like, that's wild.
So I don't remember what it was, but based on my lab knowledge, like, because we talked about that when you were trying to sort out your kids' blood types.
Mm-hmm.
So if your parents are this, these are the only options.
Mm-hmm.
Our family does not work out that way because, um, like, but I don't remember what type my mom is. But like the way that it worked out, I was like, then how are me and Austin the types that we are? Like I was genuinely confused. And then I like went and did a bunch of, yeah, that was my face. And then I went and did a bunch of research about it. And it's like once in so many times that this just like happens. And I was like, huh. Because Austin is AB negative. And my aunt, which obviously not completely part of the story because it's not the direct
Yeah.
line, but my aunt is AB positive. So the fact that I have two people in my family that are AB is like unheard of. And then my dad, I believe, I want to say that both of my parents are A, or both of them are B. And it was like, that's why I was confused because I'm like, where did that come from then? Because I'm A positive. But I don't know. I'd have to look it up again because I don't remember what mom said because I was trying to sort it out one day and then I was like, she was like asking me. She was like, well, no, maybe your dad's not that or maybe Austin's not that. And I'm like, no, I'm telling you, Austin is AB negative and I know I'm A positive because this is literally my job. And when I was in school, we
Right.
typed ourselves all the time.
Yeah.
And because I have like dog tags from Austin and dad and they say your blood type on
Mm-hmm.
them. So that's how I knew what they were. And then mom was like, no, I'm whatever. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. Like, there's no way that that's what you are. And me and Austin are this. And it was like a whole thing. And I was like, I did not learn that in school. I was like, that this is a rare occurrence for how it
Well,
happened.
I still haven't stuck our oldest kid. Because I told you like the next time he needed blood work done, I was just gonna ask them to do it then. But incidentally, we haven't
Yeah.
had to do any blood work. Um, but yeah, it was weird because Brandon thought that he was A negative and I'm A negative. And so when we had our second kid and in his paperwork, I was looking at for something one day whenever he was little on like his charts on my phone, or I might have just been looking at him. Uh, I noticed it said B negative, and I was like, wait, that's not right. And yeah, that started that whole thing. Uh,
Yeah.
but I wonder, so do you know how they say like negative blood just started one day? Like it just, like they're not sure how it originated or whatever. Well, I wondered if like back thousands of years ago, when people would do blood rituals, if like people drinking other people's blood like caused some kind of deformation, like it caused something to happen because we're not supposed to do
Yeah.
that. Like that's not natural. That's not meant to like you know we're not meant to drink other
Yes,
people's
yeah.
blood.
Yeah.
And so I wondered if that like caused something in our makeup to happen and then we
Yeah.
just started spitting out or we're aliens. I always like that theory. Yeah,
How
I like
stuff
that
just
theory.
started happening.
Yeah, that's weird.
Well, I would say it worked out for the best because, I mean, O negative is the universal donor. So
Yeah.
that helps people.
Or I wonder if like, cause I have stuff in my head that I'm like, whenever I get to heaven, I'm seeking somebody out and be like, can you explain this to me? Because I have questions and I want answers because my curious little mind. And I wonder if God was just like, I'm about to throw a wrench in these people's plans. Negative blood. Like, you're never gonna figure it out because there's no answer. What?
I don't know. Like now my brain is on that. Well, because I'm thinking you making the comment about God made me think about it because, like, I mean, they were trying to build the tower to heaven. And so
Mm-hmm.
then he was like, nope. And so, like,
Absolutely not.
maybe that's where that came from. Like, you
Who
know,
knows?
but the Bible was already written, things were already happening, but maybe that's why it was like sprinkled in there along the way.
It's so fast. The Bible can be so fascinating. It is so fascinating. Some stuff is kind of scary. Some stuff is fascinating. Like the whole tower thing, like you're just talking to your buddy building a tower and then God smites you and then all of a sudden you can't understand what they're saying because they're speaking different languages. That's fascinating.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um I'm kind of low key jealous of Haley because she has to do a Bible class every semester.
Hmm. Hmm.
And they like study the Bible in depth. And like some of the stuff she says is just fascinating because like the things they learn and they learn on different levels and they learn like different ways you can take it. It's so fascinating. Um Now I feel kind of dumb talking like my last one that I'm going to say. I feel dumb talking about the Bible and now talking about this. Like it feels so why are dudes expected to just pee in front of each other in a bathroom? Like women, you have the privacy of your stall. Men, it's like, okay, go stand next to this dude you don't know.
I mean, most architecture is designed by men, so they did it to themselves. I don't know.
I mean, I guess so. But I don't know. That one could get deep for me because in my mind, I'm like, at what age do I send my kids into a men's bathroom by themselves to pee next to a grown stranger? Because you're telling me that if there was a stranger living next door, if I sent my kid outside and I was like, pull your pants down, CPS would be called on me. I would get in trouble. That man would get in trouble. Like it would be a whole thing. But go to the bathroom and pee. Like that's fine. And in my mind, it's basically the same thing.
Yeah. No, I see what you mean.
But that's the deep conversation. Not deep conversation. I really don't understand how like women get privacy but men don't. And like they can have it, like they should be able to have it if they want it. Like if you don't want
Yeah.
to expose yourself
Well,
to a stranger, that's okay.
I mean, there is usually like one or two stalls in a men's restroom. They're just not all
Yeah.
stalls. Um,
Yes.
but on that note, I can't help but wonder if women hadn't have had stalls, like let's just say we had several toilets because obviously we can't stand up and pee, but there was
Right.
no walls in between. Like, how would we feel about that? Would it?
I don't know.
That's one of those things that was just like, this is how it is, accept it. But
Yeah.
like looking at it, I'm like, what if they would have just never put the walls and we're all just casually sitting on toilets peeing next to each other and we can see each other?
And my brain goes to how many times like if you're getting ready, I'm gonna walk in the bathroom and I'm gonna pee. Like it's not that big of a deal. I'm not sitting there watching you.
Yeah.
But like and vice versa. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's
I just
interesting.
it's
I
weird
would
to
say
me.
that the stalls and the having of walls and all that is from like the fact that women need toilet paper and we have menstrual cycles and all those kind of things where dudes,
That's
it's just
fair.
like, hey, you can pee.
I should whip her
And
out.
yeah, like anywhere, anytime kind of thing. I mean, obviously not because sometimes that's illegal, but, close enough. Like, I just feel like that's just how it is for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
interesting though. And you're right, because I mean, that men literally don't get the option basically.
no.
You have to, this is how it is.
And I've heard before, like, if a dude goes to a stall and they know that he just peed, they're like, oh well, like it's like a less manly thing, like that you won't pee in front of. And I'm just like, maybe he just didn't want you to see his own body parts because that's personal to him.
That's
Like,
weird.
yeah, but it's a dude. Like, dudes are weird.
We could go down a whole rabbit hole with this
Yes,
though,
that could
because
be an
like
episode in itself.
being in high school and stuff, and like boys like groping each other. Like I'm not gonna say, I'm not gonna say I've never just like gone up to someone and grabbed their boob, but like that's not a general greeting from girls. Like I don't just come
No,
up to you and grab your boob and be like, "How's it going,
no.
Ashley?" Like,
And like on one side of that coin, I'm like, that's my personal space. Like that's my but I kind of like me being the kind of person I am. I think I would react the same way if a stranger grabbed my boob as a stranger grabbed my shoulder because I don't like I feel like you shouldn't touch me. Period. Because you're a stranger.
well, but okay, so a stranger, but let's just say like legitimately, like me and you. Like if I came up and touched your arm and you knew it was me, I don't think you're gonna freak out. But if I came up to you and grabbed your boob and was like, "Good morning, Ashley," I think you'd
But
be like, "What
I
are
think
you
I would,
doing?"
yeah, I'd be like, what are you doing? Like, I don't think it would be like an end to our friendship, but I would definitely question things.
As you should, but that's what I'm saying. Like boys don't do that. They generally in high school, from what I remember, they grabbed each other and all sorts
Yeah.
of things. And I'm like, why? Why is this a normal thing for you guys?
They're probably questioning their sexuality and they're trying to do it in a low key manner.
I don't know how you even got that sentence out with a straight face. Boys are just weird.
They are. They're really weird.
Okay. Um, that's all I had, but I do have a fun fact for you just
Oh,
to
okay.
to itch your brain a little. Cause it did mine. I sat there for a long time being like, what the heck? Um, fun fact. The numbers 1 through 999 do not contain the vowel A. Like when you write out the numbers,
Mm-hmm.
the first one that does is 1,000.
1,000. Fascinating.
And I just thought that was so weird since it's a commonly used letter.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the first
Um,
999 numbers don't use it.
just because somebody said it had to be that way.
Guess so.
Oh, I just thought of another thing I don't understand, even though we're coming up on our time. Well, maybe, yeah.
You're
Anyway,
good.
um, so like ghosts, I f-
I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. Anyway,
okay. So
ghosts.
I feel
Tell me
like
about them.
I feel like I feel like when people talk about like an experience like seeing a ghost, not everyone could be lying about that. Like somebody has had to have some kind of real experience
Yeah.
because there's not like a cumulative lie that everyone says about anything else.
Yeah.
And I have seen things before that aren't should not be there. And I don't think that I hallucinated that. I mean,
Yeah.
like one so you know where my room was growing up, but it was, basically like an L shape kind of. And there was the hallway went in like an L shape. Well, I remember opening my bedroom door to go down the hallway, and I stepped out of my room and I said, "Oh, sorry." And I stepped around someone to continue going down the hall. And then I was like, "Wait, no one's here." Or like maybe Aunt Rose was here, but I'm like, if she was going in my room, she would have stopped and spoken to me. Like, she would have been coming to my room for me.
Yeah.
And so I was like, what was that? Who was that? I'm not going to step
Weird.
out of someone's way if I was making them up in my head.
Yeah.
And that is one thing that I like, you see stuff, but if you don't interact with it, like you can kind of explain it off. But that is one thing that sticks out in my head that, like, if I'm stepping around something, it's there to me, at
Yeah.
least, it's there. So, I don't know. Ghosts are real. That's where I'm going with that. I guess what I was meaning was like, I don't understand how some people can be like, I don't believe in ghosts. And then some people are like, no, I have seen stuff. And I'm not
Yeah.
crazy. I'm not making it up. I'm not whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I believe in ghosts, so you don't gotta convince me. But
And you still
I
play with
mean,
Ouija boards.
not anymore. I was a child, okay? Um, I literally have not done that since I was in high school.
Good for you.
I don't know. I know that my mind personally like plays like wild tricks on me, and then I've watched like way too many scary movies, and so like
Mm-hmm.
like with anxious situations in your life where you make crazy stuff up all of a sudden, like my brain does that with things when I think about it too long, like kind of like in a scary movie when they're like walking up the stairs and then they like turn off the light so they run really fast. Like that is how quickly my brain gets from A to B sometimes.
Like
And
you
I'm
freak yourself out.
honestly, yes. And I'm honestly ashamed to admit the amount of times, like, I'm talking this happens on a daily, weekly basis. The amount of times that I will be standing next to my bed at nighttime and I take vitamins. I have vitamins I take at nighttime, and I'll get them out of the bathroom, put them in my mouth, and come to my bedside table to get a drink of water. And I'll be standing there, and our bed has space under it. Like, you could get under the bed. And always when I'm standing there, I'm like, what if something just grabbed my ankle right now? And then immediately my brain is like, no, 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 no. Like, take it back. Take it back. We didn't think it.
Well, if it makes you feel better, whenever I was at your house, this last time, I don't remember what I went downstairs for, but I went downstairs and I like hauled butt back up the stairs. I was like, absolutely not.
Well, our friend Kevin has stayed at our house like a lot. He'll nap here sometimes. Like we have stuff, during the summer, whatever, we'll all be hanging out. And then he'll be like, I'm gonna go take a nap. We're like, okay, Kevin, whatever. Well, he was watching our dogs for us last summer when we were in Mexico, and he legit was like, I can come in the morning, spend most of the day, whatever, till bedtime. He's like, I literally cannot sleep in y'all's house by myself. And we were like, what? And he was like, your house is like creepy. And I'm like, yeah, I could see it, because there's definitely times when I'm downstairs in the kitchen and I'm home alone and all the dogs are downstairs and you can like hear someone walking across the floor upstairs. Yeah, no, I wish I was lying. And it literally sounds like someone walking across the floor upstairs, and I'm like, and then I literally just put it out of my mind because I'm like, you're here alone. So like, yeah, when Johnny was on that work trip and like Jessica came to stay and like you came to stay, I was glad, because I
Mm-hmm.
was like, obviously the weekends I'm like home. I'm like home during the day and night, where during the week when I was working, like I'm gonna go to bed because I have to go to bed to get up the next morning. Like, it's less of a thought in my brain, where like if I was just sitting at home in our house all the time, I'd be like,
And
But
like
yes,
my
no.
brain is thinking about, how y'all thought that like a lot of people live there together before you guys lived
Mm-hmm.
there?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what if something happened?
Mm-hmm.
I'm never staying at your house again.
Yeah. And our neighbor told us that like, because he has come to our house before, like, just to talk or whatever, but, like, even just standing in the doorway, he's like, this house just looks so much nicer now that y'all live here and blah, blah. And we're like, when we first moved in, we were like, yeah, because, like, they had replaced the carpet. Like, when we bought our house, the carpet in the house was all brand new because they had to replace it. And he was like, well, yeah, it's because the last guy literally would have, like, a motor in here. Like, he was, like, working on car parts literally inside the house.
Well, my brain went to like dead body in the house, so they had to replace the carpet because there was a dead body and they ruined the carpet.
Well, so on the note of, no, I'm not going to tell you something creepy. I'm going to tell you where my mind has been. Yes, I had the same thought because my brain went to two places when we were doing our final walkthrough before we bought this house. Because I told, like, you've seen it, all the bedrooms have
Mm-hmm.
deadbolts. And my mind at first went to like a wild kind of place, if you know what I mean. And
Yeah.
then it came back and I was like, no, like, what if this is like that documentary? I'm pretty sure it's on Hulu that we watched, where they had like kids or whatever, and like people were locked in these rooms. Like, what if someone was locking people in these rooms? And then our realtor was like, I'm pretty sure it was probably just like grown adult roommates and you don't want people
Yeah,
going
I'm
through your
sure you
stuff.
are a
So,
person trying to sell me this house. Sure.
well, I mean, we were literally one day out from buying it. Like, but she was like, you know how people have roommates. And then I was like, oh, that does make sense. Cause like I knew people in college that would live in like the college apartments, but they weren't like dorms, like you were paying
Mm-hmm.
rent or whatever. But it would literally be 4 bedrooms and they all had
Yeah.
their own lock, and then you had common areas. And I was like,
Yeah.
I could see that, like if you really want to guarantee no one's going through your stuff. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's something that's like always in the back of my brain because I'm like, um,
Yeah.
yeah, there's weird little quirky things to our house. Just like the spare bathroom upstairs doesn't have a lock on the door, like at all. But then all these bedrooms have handle locks and deadbolts, and I'm like, this is weird, just weird.
Mm.
But
Well,
anywho,
yeah, so last night I was laying in bed and the little one had been asleep for a while. And normally the big one comes and brushes his teeth after he has been laying down for a little while. But last night he had brushed his teeth before he went to bed. Well, I was laying in bed and we had been in bed for probably like an hour or so. And by our stairs we have a motion light. Um and the motion light kicked on and I could see somebody coming up the stairs. And I called his name. I thought it was the bigger one coming to brush his teeth. And I was like, well, maybe he just has to go to the bathroom. And I called his name a few times and he didn't answer. And I was like, oh no, he's getting sick. And so I jumped up because I was scared he was going to be like throwing up and he couldn't make it there. And whenever I made it to the foot of our bed, which where you could see the steps, the little one was just sitting at the top of the stairs with his little cat under his arm. And I called his name and he turned and he went, and turned and looked back down, like towards the living room and stuff. And he was asleep. I had just went and checked on him. He had been asleep. Yeah. And so I was like,
absolutely not.
and so I picked him up and I was like, you're going back to bed. And I came back and Brandon was like, was he just sitting on the steps? And I was like, yes, I am spooked. I want to throw him out. Like, we're done. We're done with that one.
Just yeet him outside really quick.
Yes. I'm not messing with no possessed kid. It was bad enough whenever
Oh
the
my
bigger one was
gosh.
smaller and we would be staying up at my mom's and he would raise up in bed and look to the corner and go,
No. No.
he would. He's done it multiple times on multiple trips. Like in my old
Absolutely
bedroom,
not.
how like the door is here and then there's like that corner in the other
Mm.
side and the
Mm-hmm.
bed is like right here. He would raise up in bed and turn and go and just yeah, dead stare. No. 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 Mm-mm. I'd be like, lay down. We're not doing it. No. We're not messing with that. Don't acknowledge it. It ain't acknowledging us. Whatever you're trying to. Thanks for telling it no. Whatever you're trying to convey to it. But let's just leave it alone. Leave it alone. It'll leave us alone. We're going to pray. The Holy Spirit will surround us and protect us, and we'll be fine. Yeah. Just wait, buddy. You're in for it. You are in for it. Because
Speaking of,
in my mind, what would made him have done that? If you did that, I'd be like, stop playing. Like you're trying to freak me out. Why would he be trying to do that? He's a toddler. Then he was. Like, you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like you're a small child. You don't know to do these things to scare somebody. Those things don't add up in
yeah.
your brain. So, yeah, have fun with that, buddy.
Mm. Well, um, on that note, when I was younger, I used to like my mom would try to come and wake me up, or your mom when we lived next door to each other, and she like would wake us up for school. I would literally sit up in the bed, open my eyes and talk to them and be like, "Yeah, I'm awake, I'm getting up, whatever." And then go back to sleep and have no recollection of that. So, but I don't know. This has been a while back now, but like a month or two ago, I woke up in the middle of the night like, well, I didn't wake up. I sat up and was like screaming. And yeah, and Johnny like grabbed me and shook me and he was like, "Kayla." And I like vaguely remember waking up and he was like, "You're at home. It's okay." And I just laid back down and went to sleep. But the other night, I don't know what happened, but I could feel myself like dreaming about something. And then I just vaguely remember like sitting straight up in the bed, like abruptly. And then I
Kayla,
went
when
back to
I
sleep.
tell you I would smack you, I would be like, not today, bestie. We're not. You're not doing this with me.
Like,
Oh, like you can smack me back tomorrow. We can get even, but no, whatever is possessing you, absolutely not.
oh my gosh. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. We're
We're
gonna have
just
to do
gonna have
like
to do
a
a whole like spooky
yes.
show.
Yes. Well, October, man. I have been planning October so much in my head because I'm like, that's going to be so fun. Like spooky stories of our own, other people's spooky stories. Like, that's going to be really cool. But
Yes.
maybe we could do like a dream episode, like a nightmare episode. That could be kind of fun.
My nightmares are pretty deep and dark, but okay.
My nightmares are always like I wake like I used to have a recurring nightmare when me and Brandon first got married that I would see him somewhere and I'd walk up to him and he wouldn't talk to me. And not like a like I know like I would walk up and I would be talking to him and he would just stare at me in my face. And like he did like in a creepy way. Like just like a
Yeah.
and that would freak me out and I would wake up and be like, "What is the matter with you?" Like it would scare me because I would
Yeah.
like something had to have been wrong and it was really scary in the dream, but when I woke up I was just like that was kind of spooky, but it wasn't as scary as I felt like it was unconsciously.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, what's your poll for this week?
All right. These do not pertain to the topic, by the way.
Rarely do.
Okay. I saw this. This was one of those things that just like stuck with me the other day. I saw a reel on Instagram of someone doing their laundry and it like put this thought in my head because I was like, no, no, no. That's not how you do that. Um, when you do your laundry, do you put in the laundry and then the soap and turn it on? Or do you put the soap in the bottom of the washing machine and then put your clothes on top of it and then turn it on?
So, used to, I would put my laundry in and then put the soap on top. But then, one day I was doing clothes and I read the washing machine and it said to put the soap in the bottom and let it start filling and it would mix up the soap. or put your laundry in the bottom, and if you can't start it, to still put the soap in the bottom and then your laundry on top, because when the water feels, it will have soap in the water as the water rises. And so I was like, that makes a ton of sense. And so now I put it in the bottom.
It does make
And
a ton
by
of sense,
yeah.
but my brain cannot make that make sense. The soap goes on top.
So it does pertain because you don't understand it.
Yeah, I guess it does. Because, yeah, I watched a reel and someone put the soap in the bottom and then all the clothes on top. And I was like, because in my mind, if you put, this is the way my washing machine works. So the water comes out from the top, like the thing at the very top. And so I'm like, you put the clothes in, you put the soap on top, you turn the water, like turn it on, the water starts coming out from the top. And so it's hitting the soap and the clothes and everything. And so that's just, I don't know. That's just how that worked for me.
Yeah.
But the way you said it also makes sense. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah, well, yeah. And sometimes I forget to put it in and I put it on top and I don't really stress it because at the end of the day, if they're getting clean, I don't particularly care.
Yeah.
But it also bugs me when you're watching those people like wash clothes and they put like a million different things in there and they put a ton of it. And I'm like, that could not be good for your washing machine, the amount of things you're putting in there.
You also probably don't need all of that.
No.
But anyway, yeah, so question of the week. Do you put your soap and then your clothes, or do you put your clothes and then your soap?
Yep.
If you feel like explaining to us why you do what you do, go right ahead. Maybe someone can make me understand so that I'll do it differently.
Okay, buddy. Well, have a good day walking your dogs. And
Thanks.
you told me you were
It's
doing
really
something
nice
else.
outside.
I don't remember. It's cold and windy here.
Well, it looks nice outside. I haven't. Oh yeah, it is nice. My watch says it's 67 degrees outside today. Ooh.
Next week, that we have a low of like, I think it was 31. And I was like, homie, it is April.
Yeah.
What is happening? But it's weird coming to
Well,
the north and they have like transitional seasons, like how it's supposed to be. Because, in Louisiana, it goes from cold or cool to like butt hot the next day.
Yeah.
But yeah, so have a good day.
Thanks, you too. Maybe we'll end up going and seeing our movie since we went and saw my brother-in-law last night. Because Johnny wants to go see that movie, and I think that would be fun.
Yeah.
All right, well, y'all have fun. Enjoy your belated extra Easter egg hunt for your little childrens.
Yeah.
And whatever else y'all were going to do
today. Get a lot
today.
of candy they don't need. We're going to buy Handon. We're going to buy Handon biking boots. We're going to buy Brandon hiking boots.
I hate when I do that.
And I might get a pickleball racket for us because we have a tennis court here with different kinds of, yeah. So I'm trying to talk him into playing pickleball with me because we're getting old and our muscles are getting stiff because we don't exercise like at all.
I was actually thinking about suggesting that to Johnny too, that we invite the other couple that got us into playing pickleball, that we go play like outside today since it's nice. But we'll see. All right, well, it's been fun. It's been real. Like, follow, comment, answer the poll, tell your friends about us.
We're on Threads now. We're on Threads now. Find us on Threads if you're on Threads.
Yes.
Don't really know how to work Threads yet.
Ask us questions, comments, tell us things you want us to talk about. We'd love to connect with you guys. And we will catch you in the next episode. Love and miss you.
Love and miss you, bestie. Bye.
Bye.